Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying this: your isolation is not a punishment, it's preparation. Too often, we equate loneliness with abandonment. We think that because we don't have a romantic connection, something must be wrong with us. But let me assure you, nothing could be further from the truth. You are chosen. And when you are chosen, God doesn't do things in the ordinary way. Isolation is his way of shielding you from unnecessary entanglements while he works on the masterpiece of your life. When God has chosen you for a specific purpose, separation becomes an integral part of his divine strategy. This separation is not a punishment, but a deliberate and loving act of protection and preparation. The journey of a chosen one is unlike any other, because the weight of your assignment requires undivided focus, unwavering faith, and a heart fully aligned with God's will. Isolation is one of the most powerful tools he uses to refine you, ensuring that you are ready to carry the responsibility he has placed on your life. Romantic connections, while beautiful in their right time, can often become distractions from fulfilling the divine calling on your life. Relationships require investment of time, emotions, and energy. When God separates you, he is not denying you the joy of companionship, but ensuring that your priorities remain firmly rooted in him and the task he has set before you. Imagine the consequences of stepping into a relationship prematurely, one that diverts your focus from the unique work God has called you to do. The enemy often uses the guise of love and attachment to lead the chosen ones off course. A well-timed distraction can delay or even derail your destiny. God's purpose for your life is not a casual endeavor. It is a sacred mission that demands clarity of mind and purity of heart. The people you allow into your life, especially those in romantic relationships, carry the power to influence your decisions, attitudes, and actions. For a chosen one, such influence cannot be left to chance. The stakes are too high. God's isolation is his way of guarding your heart and ensuring that the influences around you align with his plan. During seasons of isolation, it may feel like you've been forgotten, but the reality is far from it. God is intensely involved in every detail of your life during these times. He is pruning, shaping, and strengthening you. The isolation creates space for him to draw you closer, revealing himself in ways that deepen your understanding of who he is and who you are in him. It's in these quiet, solitary moments that God often downloads the blueprint for your future. He gives vision, direction, and wisdom that could easily be missed if your attention were divided by a romantic connection. The process of preparation also involves stripping away the unnecessary. Sometimes relationships form out of convenience, loneliness, or societal pressure rather than divine alignment. These connections may feel comforting in the moment, but can carry long-term consequences that pull you away from God's purpose. Isolation allows you to step back and discern the difference between what is good and what is God's best. It clears the clutter from your life, ensuring that when the right relationship does come, it enhances your calling rather than diminishes it. God's separation also protects you from people who are not equipped to handle the weight of your destiny. Not everyone is meant to walk this journey with you. Some people may unintentionally undermine your vision because they do not understand it or feel threatened by the magnitude of your purpose. Romantic connections with such individuals can lead to compromises that dilute your effectiveness. God, in his infinite wisdom, shields you from these scenarios by allowing isolation to build a fortress around your heart and your mission. This season of divine separation also serves as a testing ground. It reveals whether you truly trust God with every aspect of your life, including your desire for companionship. Can you surrender your timelines, your plans, and your preferences to him, believing that he knows what is best for you? Trust is built in these moments of waiting, and the faith you develop will serve as the foundation for everything God brings into your life in the future. Romantic connections are often viewed as a source of fulfillment, but for the chosen ones, true fulfillment comes from walking in obedience to God. Your identity is not found in a relationship, but in your Creator. This period of separation is God's way of realigning your perspective, teaching you that nothing and no one can take his place in your life. When you embrace this truth, you step into a realm of spiritual maturity that prepares you to steward the blessings and responsibilities that come with your calling. The isolation may feel uncomfortable, even painful at times, but it is never wasted. Every moment serves a purpose, refining you and positioning you for the greatness God has ordained for you. Trust the process, even when you don't understand it, for it is in this divine isolation that the chosen ones are prepared to fulfill their God-given assignment. Singleness is not a season of rejection, but a divine opportunity for refinement. It is a time when God intentionally sets you apart, not to deprive you, but to prepare you. In a world that often equates singleness with lack, it's easy to feel as though something is missing or that you are being overlooked. But from a spiritual perspective, singleness is one of the most significant seasons in your life. It is a sacred period where God molds your character, strengthens your spirit, and deepens your relationship with Him in ways that would be difficult if your attention were divided. When God calls you into a season of singleness, it is because He sees the potential in you that needs refining. Like a skilled potter working with clay, He carefully shapes you, removing imperfections and smoothing out rough edges. This process is not always comfortable, but it is necessary. God uses this time to reveal aspects of your character that need transformation. Whether it's patience, humility, self-control, or trust, singleness creates the perfect environment for these qualities to be developed. Relationships, while beautiful, often bring external distractions that can obscure the inner work God wants to do within you. One of the primary purposes of singleness is to deepen your relationship with God. Without the demands of a romantic connection, you have the opportunity to focus entirely on your Creator. It is in this season that God reveals Himself to you in profound ways. He speaks to your heart, unveils His plans for your life, and teaches you how to rely on Him completely. This period of intimacy with God builds a foundation of faith and trust that will sustain you not only in future relationships, but also in every area of your life. Singleness also teaches you the importance of self-awareness and self-love. In this time, God shows you who you are in Him, your strengths, your purpose, and your value. Too often, people enter relationships seeking validation or fulfillment from another person, but God wants you to find those things in Him first. When you learn to love yourself as God loves you, you enter relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. Singleness is not about waiting for someone else to complete you, it's about becoming complete in Christ. This season is also a time for you to grow in wisdom and discernment. Romantic relationships require emotional and spiritual maturity, and God uses singleness to prepare you for those responsibilities. He teaches you how to guard your heart, how to recognize His voice, and how to align your desires with His will. Every lesson learned in singleness becomes a tool that equips you for the future. By the time God brings the right person into your life, you will be ready to build a relationship that honors Him and fulfills His purpose. Singleness is also a time for you to focus on your purpose. Without the distractions of a romantic relationship, you can fully dedicate yourself to the work God has called you to do. Whether it's pursuing a career, developing a ministry, or serving others, this is your time to invest in the gifts and talents God has placed within you. Your singleness is not a waiting room, it is a training ground. It is a season of productivity where you are free to explore and embrace the fullness of your calling. Many people view singleness as a season to endure, but God intends for it to be a season to thrive. It is a time of preparation, growth, and transformation. The work God does in your life during this period is not just for you, but for the people He will call you to impact. The lessons you learn, the strength you gain, and the intimacy you develop with God will become the foundation for every future relationship, both romantic and otherwise. Though it may feel like a lonely road at times, singleness is a divine gift. It is an opportunity to become the person God created you to be, free from the distractions and demands of a relationship. Embrace this season with gratitude, knowing that God is using it to prepare you for something far greater than you can imagine. Every moment of refinement, every lesson learned, and every step taken in obedience will lead you closer to the extraordinary plans God has for your life. When you find yourself in a season of delayed connections, it is essential to understand that this is not a denial from God, but a deliberate act of shielding. God, in His infinite wisdom, is protecting you for someone specific, a union that aligns with His divine purpose for your life. Relationships are not just about companionship, they are about partnership and fulfilling the destiny God has ordained for you. The timing of this union is critical, and God's delays are His way of ensuring that you are not derailed by a kind of connection that does not serve His greater plan. God sees the end from the beginning. He knows the people who will walk with you in alignment with His will and those who will become hindrances to your journey. Romantic relationships carry immense influence. The person you choose to unite with will either propel you toward your destiny or pull you away from it. Because of this, God delays certain connections to protect you from premature entanglements that can lead to heartbreak, confusion, or spiritual stagnation. He shields you from relationships that may appear good on the surface but lack the divine alignment necessary for your calling. The wrong connection can create unnecessary detours in your life. It can distract you from your purpose, weaken your resolve, and introduce influences that cloud your judgment. A person who is not aligned with your destiny may not understand or support the magnitude of your calling. Instead of encouraging you to move forward in faith, they may unintentionally or deliberately hold you back. God's delays, though difficult to endure, are his way of ensuring that you remain focused on his plans and purposes rather than being diverted by the wrong relationship. Waiting for the right connection requires trust in God's timing. It's easy to grow impatient, to wonder if you've been forgotten, or to question whether your desires will ever be fulfilled. But God's plans are always worth the wait. He is preparing someone who complements your calling, someone whose strengths align with your weaknesses and whose purpose aligns with your destiny. This union is not about fulfilling societal expectations or personal preferences. It is about fulfilling God's will. God's delays are also a time of preparation, not just for you, but for the person he has ordained for you. Just as he is refining you, he is also working in their life, ensuring that they are ready to step into a partnership that honors him and serves his purpose. When the time is right, this connection will come together effortlessly, not because of human striving, but because of divine orchestration. During this season, it is important to remain vigilant and discerning. The enemy often seeks to bring counterfeit connections into your life to distract you from the real thing. These relationships may look appealing, but they lack the depth, alignment, and spiritual foundation that God has intended for you. Trusting God means being willing to walk away from opportunities that do not have his hand upon them, even when they seem tempting. The person God has for you will not just be a romantic partner, but a spiritual partner, someone who understands and supports the weight of your calling. They will challenge you to grow, encourage you to stay aligned with God's will, and walk beside you in faith. This kind of connection cannot be rushed or forced. It must be divinely appointed. God's delays ensure that when this person enters your life, both of you are ready to build a relationship that reflects his love, purpose, and glory. Though the wait may feel long, take heart in knowing that God's timing is always perfect. He is not withholding love from you, but ensuring that the love you receive is the one that he has ordained. Trust in his process and rest in the assurance that he is shielding you not only from unnecessary pain, but for a union that will bring you joy, purpose, and alignment with his greater plan. Loneliness is often one of the most challenging aspects of being a chosen one. It can feel like a heavy burden pressing down on your heart and whispering doubts into your mind. Yet in those moments of isolation, God is doing something profound. He is testing your faith and focus, refining your trust in him, and drawing you into a deeper reliance on his perfect plan. This season is not a sign of his absence, but a demonstration of his intimate involvement in your life. When God calls you to a period of loneliness, it is never without purpose. He uses these moments to strip away distractions and to ask the most critical question: can you trust him enough to wait? Trusting God in the face of loneliness requires a faith that goes beyond surface level beliefs. It calls for a steadfast confidence that even when you cannot see the outcome, God is working behind the scenes. This kind of faith isn't developed in the comfort of companionship. It is forged in the solitude of isolation. God uses loneliness as a mirror to reflect the state of your heart. In these moments, you are faced with the raw reality of where your trust truly lies. Do you place your hope in human connections to fill the void, or do you believe that God is enough? The test of loneliness is not about punishment, it is about preparation. God is teaching you to rely on him fully, knowing that he alone can provide the peace, love, and fulfillment you need. This test also reveals your ability to focus on God's promises rather than your current circumstances. Loneliness can be a loud distraction, tempting you to settle for less than what God has for you simply to escape the discomfort. But God is asking you to fix your eyes on him, to trust that his plans are worth the wait. The enemy often uses loneliness as an opportunity to sow seeds of doubt and impatience, urging you to take matters into your own hands. However, when you anchor your heart in God's faithfulness, you silence those lies and declare that you trust his timing above all else. Waiting on God during times of loneliness builds spiritual resilience. It strengthens your character and deepens your relationship with him. Every moment of isolation becomes an opportunity to seek him more fervently, to worship him more sincerely, and to hear his voice more clearly. God uses this time to show you that his presence is enough, that his grace is sufficient, and that his love is unfailing. The test of loneliness is also about alignment. God is asking whether you are willing to surrender your desires to his will. Can you trust that his plan for your relationships, your future, and your purpose is better than anything you could orchestrate on your own? Surrendering to God in this way requires humility and patience, but it also brings freedom. When you let go of trying to control the outcome, you open the door for God to move in ways that exceed your expectations. Loneliness teaches you to value God's presence above all else. In the quiet and stillness, you learn that he is your ultimate source of comfort and strength. Human relationships are a gift, but they are not the foundation of your identity or joy. God is. When you embrace this truth, loneliness loses its power to discourage you. Instead, it becomes a sacred space where God molds you into the person he has called you to be. Though the test of loneliness can feel long and arduous, it is never in vain. God is using it to prepare you for his best, to strengthen your faith, and to draw you closer to him. Trust that every moment of isolation is working for your good, and rest in the assurance that when the time is right, God will bring his perfect plan to fruition. As a chosen one, your journey is set apart, marked by a purpose and a calling that others may not fully understand. This uniqueness is not a burden, but a divine assignment, one that requires strength, perseverance, and unwavering faith. The weight you carry is not ordinary, it is a spiritual responsibility, a mantle that aligns with the vision and destiny God has placed over your life. And because of this, not everyone is equipped to walk alongside you. The calling of the chosen is often accompanied by a sense of solitude, not because you are unworthy of connection, but because the magnitude of your assignment demands it. The weight you carry is not visible to the natural eye. It is spiritual, profound, and deeply tied to God's plans for you and those you are meant to impact. This is why God, in his wisdom, shields you from relationships that cannot support the load of your purpose. Romantic connections, friendships, and even family relationships are sometimes sifted by God to ensure that only those who are aligned with his vision for your life remain. Not everyone is called to understand or support the vision you carry. Your purpose is unique, and the journey you walk often sets you apart. People who lack spiritual depth or who are not in alignment with God's will may view your calling as overwhelming or even intimidating. They may question your decisions, fail to grasp your priorities, or misunderstand your commitment to God's plans. This is not a reflection of your inadequacy, but of their inability to handle the spiritual weight you bear. God understands the intricacies of your calling and the challenges you will face. He knows that the wrong relationship can hinder your progress, drain your energy, or distract you from your mission. Some people may want to be a part of your life without fully comprehending the sacrifices and spiritual battles that come with your assignment. Rather than allowing these connections to derail your path, God removes them, ensuring that you remain focused and equipped for the work he has called you to do. Your journey requires relationships that edify, encourage, and strengthen you in the faith. These connections are rare and precious because they are divinely appointed. The person God ordains for your life will not only understand the weight you carry, but will also be willing and able to support you in it. They will share your vision, align with your purpose, and walk with you in unity toward God's plans. This is why God often delays connections or isolates you in certain seasons. He is preparing you for a partnership that is rooted in his will and fortified by his spirit. The weight you carry is not a punishment, it is a privilege. It is a sign of God's trust in you, his confidence that you are capable of stewarding the vision he has given you. But with this trust comes a responsibility to protect your calling. You must guard your heart, your time, and your focus, ensuring that you do not compromise your assignment for relationships that do not align with God's plans. This unique journey often requires you to walk a narrow path, one that is not crowded but deeply purposeful. It may feel lonely at times, but God's presence is always with you, guiding and strengthening you. He is your ultimate source of support, the one who equips you to carry the weight of your calling. And as you remain faithful to him, he will bring the right people into your life, those who are designed to walk beside you, share in your vision, and help you fulfill your purpose. Embrace the weight you carry, knowing that it is a mark of God's favor and a testament to his plans for your life. Trust that he is aligning everything perfectly, and remember that the path of the chosen is never easy, but always worthwhile. Patience and faithfulness are two qualities that God honors deeply, and he never forgets the sacrifices you make in obedience to his timing. While the waiting season can feel long and even painful, it is not without purpose. God uses this time to mold you, strengthen your character, and prepare both you and the person he has destined to walk with you in alignment. And when the time is right, his time, not ours, God will reward your patience and faithfulness by bringing the right person into your life, someone who will complement your calling, not conflict with it. The promises of God are sure, but they often require trust and endurance. It can be difficult to hold on to hope when your heart longs for connection, yet you find yourself in a prolonged season of isolation. In these moments, it's vital to remember that God's delays are never denials. They are acts of love and wisdom, ensuring that you receive the best he has planned for you. When God chooses to bring someone into your life, it will be a union that enriches your purpose, amplifies your calling, and glorifies him. The right person won't just fill a void, they will walk with you in the destiny God has ordained. They will share your vision, support your spiritual growth, and encourage you to remain steadfast in your faith. This kind of connection is not the result of chance or mere human effort. It is the product of divine orchestration. God has been working behind the scenes all along, preparing you and the other person for a relationship that reflects his love and purpose. One of the most remarkable aspects of God's reward is how perfectly it aligns with his timing. When you try to force a relationship outside of God's will, it often leads to frustration, disappointment, and spiritual stagnation. But when you wait on him, the connection arrives at a moment when both you and the other person are ready spiritually, emotionally, and mentally to build something lasting and meaningful. This alignment doesn't just happen, it's the result of God's meticulous planning and your willingness to trust him. In this waiting season, God is not just preparing the other person for you, he's preparing you for them. He's refining your character, teaching you patience, and building your capacity to love selflessly. These qualities are essential for the kind of partnership that honors God and fulfills his purpose. The process may feel slow, but every moment of waiting is an investment in a future that is far greater than anything you could imagine or create on your own. Faithfulness in the waiting season also strengthens your relationship with God. As you lean on him for guidance, comfort, and strength, you grow deeper in your faith. This relationship with God is the foundation of every other relationship in your life. When you learn to trust him fully, you're better equipped to trust the person he brings into your life. When you experience his love, you're better able to love others unconditionally. This season is as much about spiritual growth as it is about preparing for a romantic connection. God's rewards are never small or insignificant. When he blesses you, it's not just to meet a need, but to exceed your expectations. The person he brings into your life will not only be a source of joy and companionship, but also a partner in fulfilling your divine assignment. Together, you will build a relationship that honors God, serves others, and advances his kingdom. This kind of union is worth every moment of waiting, every prayer, and every act of faithfulness. So as you wait, hold on to his promises. Know that he sees your faithfulness, hears your prayers, and understands your heart's desires. He is not slow in keeping his word. He is perfecting everything concerning you. When the time is right, God's reward will come, and it will be a testament to his faithfulness and love. Trust him, for he is always working for your good. As we come to the close of this journey of understanding, let me remind you of a divine truth. God's plans for your life are not haphazard. They are deliberate, intricate, and perfectly aligned with your purpose. Your season of isolation is not a punishment, but a preparation. It is God's way of shaping you, strengthening you, and setting you apart for something extraordinary. The waiting, the loneliness, and the weight you carry are all part of a divine process, orchestrated by a God who knows the end from the beginning. He is not only preparing you for what is to come, but also preparing what is to come for you. Every tear you've cried, every moment you felt overlooked, every time you've questioned why God has seen it all, and none of it is wasted. The reward of waiting on God is not merely the blessing itself, but the transformation you experience in the process. You are becoming the person God has called you to be, equipped to steward the blessings he has for you and to walk boldly in your divine assignment. Trust in his timing, for his timing is perfect. Rest in his promises, for they are unfailing. So I leave you with this charge: be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain. Your season of isolation is temporary, but the glory it will produce is eternal. Keep your eyes fixed on the one who called you, for he is faithful, and he will bring it to pass. The best is yet to come, and when it arrives, you will look back on this season and see that every moment was worth it. God is not just preparing you for greatness, he is preparing greatness for you. Hold on to his hand, trust in his process, and know that his plans for you are good. You are chosen, you are called, and you are loved. Walk in that truth, for your destiny is waiting.